Hi everybody, thanks for watching Messy Masterpiece Part 2. I've called it Messy Masterpiece because it's a very simple project with a limited amount of supplies that's not too hard to do, and you don't have to be a good, or you don't have to be someone who knows how to draw very well to do it. The shapes I've used are some basic shapes. I've been doing them forever, but you don't have to use these shapes. You can use lines and geometric shapes or squares or circles, and keep them in a nice little pattern on your paper. I've chose to do this because this is just something I do often, and I like the wild garden scene. So you draw your design with a permanent marker. I use I used two different sizes of Sharpie yesterday. And today, instead of adding the paint in a typical fashion or with a brush or with a finger, I'm using the brayer because I like the effect that the brayer gives when pressing the paint onto the paper. Now I put little dots of paint. I started with the pink and I put them throughout the page just in little bits, and if one of my dots was too big, I used my finger to spread it out a little more because I just want the brayer to have a little bit of paint on it so it doesn't spread it out too much and cover up the background of white. I've chosen pink, purple, green, and then orange. And you don't even have to wait till it dries. You just put the paint on, use the brayer, and spread it in a different direction. Don't just roll the brayer straight across, but pick it up and move it and go in different directions. So it spreads the paint out in different areas and in different shapes, overlapping the ones before. You're going to cover up a lot of the ink, and that's okay because some of the ink you want to show through more, which is what I'm doing now. I'm going over the lines on some of the areas and not on the others. That adds interest. You don't want to have all the same thickness or size of line. You want to have different length of line, different width of line, different tone of the line. You want some darker and some lighter. That all adds the interest. So the ones that are going to be hidden behind the paint will appear, faded and like we painted over it. And then on the areas that I want to add a thicker black, that's what I'm doing now with a Sharpie water-based paint pen. I like it better than the oil-based because it doesn't clog up as much. Also, you can use the Sharpie Fine Tip and the Sharpie Ultra Fine. So I'm just going to continue going over the page, adding dark ink to where I want to highlight more of the areas, and leaving some, pale and in the background. Like I said before, you can do any shapes you want. You could do like a cluster of squares within squares. You could put them in the center of the page and then take your ink and put dots around it and spread it out the same way as I did here, only it doesn't have to be a garden scene. One of the keys I like to do with this is to leave the white showing through in the back. I've done a few of these where I covered up too much and it just doesn't look good. I'll end up using the paper because I will cut it up for other things or use in a journal, but as far as like something that is appealing just in and of itself, I just felt like it looks better with the white coming through. Like I said, it's a limited supply of items here. It's the Sharpie paint pen and two Sharpie regular, fine line, and ultra fine. 3 or 4 bottles of the craft paint, Americana, I think it is, and I got them for 50 cents a bottle on sale. And the brayer, of course. If you don't have a brayer, you can use your finger to spread out the paint in different directions. You could use a roll, the inside of a roll of a paper towel if you don't have a brayer. The brayer just gives a nice effect and flattens it out very nicely. And then I did this on mixed media paper, and it didn't buckle at all. I'm a little surprised it didn't buckle a little more, but it stayed very flat. And then I'm going in towards the end. I have some watercolor markers, so I took some, well, now I'm using the Sharpie again, but I was using a green watercolor marker to add some more color to the leaves. You can definitely choose different colors than I did. Yeah, here's the water marker now. I'm just adding some green. I didn't want to add too many colors in this because I wanted to keep it a little bit more simple. And you can just take a colored pen and add more to the edges.